Hey Chem students, me again. I'm going to give you a short tutorial about looking at a particle model and being able to label it correctly. So I have open here the same review that's associated with this part in Unit 6, Section B, Particle Model Review. I'm going to go through one example, and then again you should be able to do the rest, check your answers, get help if needed, and see if you know what's going on with this. These are kind of similar pictures you've seen before when we labeled solid, liquid, gas. So now what we're going to do is label them. Here are your choices: molecules, element, ionic, or compound. Some of these we can give more than one label to. So I'm going to start with this first row, and I think I'm going to start with B. Actually, no, I'm going to start with C. Here we have individual particles, so single atoms. So the best label for this would be element. So let me see if I can get a text box and put that label here. I would like to draw a text box. Thank you. And I would put element, maybe. There we go. Let me back up to B. We gotta label this one. Oops. What the heck? Okay, guess that's not gonna work. Let me insert another text box here, because we want to label these guys. This time these are not single particles. They are not single elements. So the best label for these guys then would be molecule. And here's the other thing I need to point out with these ones, which is a little bit more complicated, and we're going to learn more about this in the next unit. But these are also known as, what's the word I want? Diatomic. Because notice it is the same particle bonded to each other, so we can't ignore that. So it is a molecule, but it's a two-atom molecule. So these are really diatomic elements. And again, this is a little bit more advanced, which we're going to get into next unit, but you might as well be able to identify them. That's different than this picture right below it. These are clearly different atoms bonded together. So we wouldn't even use this extra term that I'm mentioning right now, this diatomic element, because it's clearly two different elements, so it's just a molecule. Again, these, however, same element. It's a molecule because it's more than one particle bonded together, but it is the same element bonded together. And there just happens to be some elements that are much more stable if they have a partner they're bonded to. And so again, next unit you're going to learn about how oxygen is like that, hydrogen's like that, and so on. There's several of them. But for now, you should be able to identify that as a molecule because of the fact there's two atoms bonded together. Okay, let's back up to this one. I'm going to get a text box again so we can label this guy. And this one you have to look very closely, but you should see that this open circle is connected to the dark circle in all cases. And again, maybe right here you can see it most clearly. These are very close together. They're kind of, you know, a little bit random. There's not much order to it. Incidentally, that would tell me that this whole substance is in the solid phase. But because there are these distinct two particles that are different bonded together from all of the other particles, again, the best label for this would be molecule. Let me get that so you can see it. Okay. So I guess because we're calling this a molecule, the other label we could give it is compound. Because unless it's a compound, it's not going to be a molecule. So I think that's all the choices that would be relevant for that one. Okay, and then we'll go back to this last one. And let me get a text box right here. Now this one's a little bit different. Notice there are more than one type of particle, so it's not just an element. But unlike this first picture, these dark and then a little bit grayer or lighter colored circles are not connected together, separate from all of the other particles. They form this kind of grid, one touching the other. There's no black touching black, there's no gray touching gray, they're kind of all evenly distributed. So that means that they're all attracted to one another equally. And that is what happens in an ionic compound. So the best label for this one is ionic. And I guess since it is more than one type of atom bonded together, even though it's a different type of bond, it is still a compound. So we can give 2 labels to that one. So again, those are the things to think about when you're going through and labeling these. Maybe you also want to think about the fact of things you already know, because this could come up again. This is probably in the liquid phase. These 2 very spread out particles, they're filling up the space that they're in, probably in a gas phase. And this one, because these are very orderly, very likely in the solid state. All right, so give the rest a try and check your answers. See me if you have questions.